Hello there, and welcome to this, the first free lesson in the Portrait Sculpting Fundamentals course. In this lesson, we'll be going over what I like to call profile pancakes. Sounds yummy. You might be asking, why start with profile pancakes? Well, there's a ton of information that's contained in the portrait when we're sculpting in the round. One of the most important elements to get right from the beginning is the profile from the side view. If we have an accurate profile pancake that runs through the center line, then we have a solid frame of reference for the rest of the sculpture. We can use this to develop the rest of the features and build out the likeness from other angles. If the profile view doesn't capture an accurate likeness, then we'll be hard-pressed to make the other features accurate. Think of this profile line as the first scaffolding or beam that you put up in construction that you then use to measure everything else off of. If this first beam isn't centered accurately, then it will affect everything else that follows. Another reason is that this exercise is just really fun. I love doing these profile pancakes because they can be done quickly. You don't need a lot of clay to do these exercises, and you don't need any tools. You could just do them by hand. And if you capture the likeness accurately, it can be a pretty cool thing to show off to friends and family or on social media. Okay, let's go through the process of sculpting a profile pancake. I like to do sculptures that are around 3 inches tall, and it usually takes me about 15 minutes. You can use whatever clay that you happen to have lying around. I like to use non-dry modeling clay, like Chavant NSP medium clay, or even some cheap non-drying dollar store clay. If you want to be able to bake the sculpture, you might consider using some polymer clay. Or if you have access to a kiln, you could even use natural clay so that you can then fire it after and have something that's as hard as stone. Then we'll want to get a side view image of the person that we want to sculpt, or you could have a friend or family member pose for you so that you can sculpt from life. If you are working from photos, just be sure you have good reference images. You want to make sure that these images weren't taken too close to the person. If they were taken too close, you can get kind of a fisheye effect. It kind of changes the shape of the skull. So try to get good images that were taken from a little bit farther back that gives a good idea of the silhouette from the side view. To start, I like to sculpt a long, thin, rectangular piece of clay that will represent the neck and that will continue on into the head. An easy way to check proportions and accuracy is to close one eye and then hold your sculpture directly up to your reference, and then you can align it. You can move it, up and down, forward and back to really align it with the reference, and that way you can get some instant visual feedback on if you're capturing the proportions, the size of the head, the shape of the head, and the shape of the features. You can do this whether you're sculpting from life. You can hold it directly up to the model, or you can hold it up to a screen where the image is and just check yourself. And we're going to be doing this often throughout this sculpt. Then I like to give an indication for the bottom of the chin and the top of the head. This gives me some landmarks that makes it easier to line up with the reference. The distances and angles between the chin and the forehead and their proportions in regard to the rest of the head are vital to get right in order to capture an accurate likeness. Now we can start to lay out a rough head shape. It can be helpful to think of the head as a bloated triangle with sides that bow outward. Or you can go for more blocky head shape that gives an indication of the front plane of the face, the bottom of the chin, the top of the head, and the back of the head. Once we have this simplified head shape, we can then start to add features with little tiny pieces of clay. I like to start with a transition from the brow to the nose, and then add on the chin, then check to make sure that they're located in the right area. If these or any other transitions are off, you can make adjustments before moving on. I like to then work around the sculpture. You might put pieces of clay to indicate the hairline or the transition from the forehead to the top of the head, and then add in the features like the nose and mound of the mouth. Remember to check for accuracy often by aligning the sculpture with the reference. When checking the sculpture, make sure that the profile pancake isn't leaning too far forward or back, as this will cause distortion. It should be perpendicular to the line of sight that you're using when you're observing the reference. Try to think of the face in terms of straight lines instead of curves. I find that straight lines tend to be easier to capture accurately. You can take tiny pieces of clay and roll them between your thumb and forefinger and then add them onto the sculpture along the silhouette, and then you might need to move them around to accurately capture the angles from your reference. You can hold it to the side of your reference and really try to get the right feel for the face and features. Once the silhouette is in place, you can go in with tiny pieces of clay and add things like the angle of the jaw, the ear, the eye socket, though I like to try to leave these things loose and not get too detailed. You could even turn the sculpture around and capture the features there too, so that you have a sculpture that then looks like it's been squished from the sides. Your assignment is to do 3 of these profile pancakes. And don't be upset if the first few don't come out exactly as you imagined or it takes a little bit longer. The whole point is to get this practice in, and as you sculpt more, you'll get faster and you'll get more accurate. It takes time and practice to master anything, so go grab some clay and do the assignment for yourself. You don't need to be a premium member, but it does help us out. You can also share these to social media by using the hashtag #ProfilePancake. In the premium course, I'll have some additional demos that I'll walk you through step by step as I do the assignment. If you like this video, I think you know how it works. And then maybe leave a comment, subscribe to the channel.